Hey friends, come on in, take your shoes off, have a seat, and consider staying a while by clicking that subscribe button. Only a month ago, we were getting reports that the Biden administration not only kicked out the National Guard from the Capitol building that were there to protect him for a supposedly peaceful transition, but he made them sleep in a very brightly lit parking garage with no accommodations. There was about one bathroom per every 800 soldiers, and there was no really running water. There was nowhere to change their clothes at. There was nothing. It was literally them staying in a parking garage. They were breathing in exhaust fumes, and they slept there for about 2 weeks before the media caught wind of it.
In dignity to the men and women who selflessly serve this country. 25,000 National Guard troops were deployed to the nation's capital to ensure the safe transition of power during the inauguration. Well, now come these upsetting images of hundreds of troops sleeping on the floor of a parking garage. And if this makes your blood boil, Stephen Fabian says you are not alone.
First Lady Jill Biden hands out chocolate chip cookies to the National Guard today in response to the outrage after they were kicked out of the Capitol building in order to sleep in a cold parking garage.
The National Guard will always hold a special place in the heart of all the Bidens.
The spontaneous trip to thank the Guard for protecting the inauguration came after images like these angered America.
Those images are just ridiculous.
When I first heard that story, I thought this can't be true.
Hundreds of National Guard troops found themselves in one parking lot beneath a federal court building. They breathed exhaust fumes and struggled to sleep under harsh fluorescent lights. Hundreds of soldiers had to share just a few toilets.
I was really shocked at the amount of people commenting oh, they're soldiers, they're trained to deal with this. Yeah, they are in other countries, but this is on our own soil. These are our own brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles who are literally putting their lives on the line and are being treated like this. I know they could expect that from being overseas and not really knowing the territory and not really knowing where they're gonna be able to sleep and stay, but this is the United States. This is the land of the free, and this is how we're treating our troops. I don't really think any of us are shocked, though, that this is coming from Biden. I forgot to put in here, I'm about to tell you about how the First Lady is going to hand out cookies to the troops to say sorry. But before she did that, President Trump actually canceled all reservations in his Trump Hotel in D.C. and opened it up to any law enforcement or any of the military that needed a place to stay for free. So it's just another, just testimony. We all know Trump loves our troops and he's so for our military and so for just the sacrifice that they do for us every single day. And so he opened up and canceled and pretty much just lost all of the revenue from his hotel for months now because he wanted to make sure that the troops had a place to stay. And only after the president caught wind that Trump was doing this did he have his wife go hand out cookies. There's not one bone in my body that thinks President Biden would have done anything for these troops if it A, wouldn't have gotten out into the media and people were outraged about it, and B, if Trump, out of the kindness of his heart, wasn't doing anything about it. I don't think Biden felt like he wanted to be showed up by someone who genuinely was trying to help. I think Biden was just trying to make himself look good. It's ironic that only after the news story broke about these troops being in these poor conditions that the First Lady decided to go and give them cookies. And the troops were not being fed at all. That was another complaint, was that they were having to kind of fend from themselves. They weren't even sending them MREs or anything like that to feed them. And I just think it's really funny that the First Lady really thought that chocolate chip cookies would remedy the situation. Not only that, but you can really tell how staged the video is if you look at her handing out the cookies, you can tell that these troops are probably told, like, you have to stand here and listen to her talk and stuff. There wasn't a ton of them around, and it just looked very staged to me. Yesterday, a news story broke that our troops are now being fed by a food service, but that the meat that they were being fed was not cooked all the way. It was completely raw on the inside. Fruit that they were being handed was completely rotted. There was bugs in it. Their breakfast usually consisted of just water and a croissant. The disturbing part, I think, even over the raw meat, was that within this meat there was metal shavings found. I don't understand how, one, a food company could even get away with producing this type of food, but two, why would they be wanting to send out food with metal shavings to our troops, knowing it's going to our troops? Like, was there another motivation behind that? Was that purposefully done so that's what they're consuming? Or is our government being so cheap that they aren't checking the quality or the manufacturer?
Take a look at the disgusting breakfast served to the troops today.
Ill after being fed meat that is almost completely raw with shaved metal, also found in the disgusting meals, according to whistleblowers. An anonymous staff sergeant with the Michigan National Guard told WXYZ that the force has repeatedly complained after more than a dozen troops were sickened by undercooked meat. Yesterday, for instance, there were 74 different meals found with raw beef in them, the sergeant told the station Monday, sharing images of meat that looked completely raw in the middle. Just yesterday, soldiers had found metal shavings in their food, he said. Undercooked meals that are good from the start were then made even more dangerous by a delay of up to 4 hours before they were served, he said.
More than 50 soldiers at the Capitol have become sick with gastrointestinal issues related to undercooked meat in meals with metal fragments, some having to be treated at the hospital.
I have a lot of military and law enforcement in my family, and so I have a big heart for them, but nonetheless, like, I respect anyone who's willing to leave their family and go defend their country for someone like me. But all that aside, the most disturbing thing, I think, out of all of it for me is that these troops are there solely to protect a man who, I guess, is our president. You all know my opinion on it, and I think it just makes him look even more guilty for stealing the election. If you have to have troops and a big fence surrounding your home months after you supposedly have taken office. Not only that, but to treat these troops who are protecting, who their sole job right now is to protect you, and you're feeding them raw meat and making them sleep in a cold, foggy parking garage. Like, it just, like, if people, I don't get how people can't see it. And if that does not show you what his character is, I don't know what does. He's basically spitting in these troops' face and saying, I don't appreciate anything you're doing right now, but here, have a chocolate chip cookie. This is how he's willing to treat someone who's protecting his life. Think how much more worse it would be how he's gonna take care of you and your family, who pretty much means nothing to him. I really don't want to make this video about bashing him, and I think my window's open. Hi, Henry. I don't want to make this a video about bashing Biden. I think he does enough to not even need bashing. It speaks for himself. I want to make this video about the troops because this is undeniably wrong. This is something that needs to be fixed right now, and this should have been something that never happened. Blows my mind that there is zero news coverage. I think there's like 2 news channels that are covering this right now, and like nobody else is talking about it. Everything else is about the vaccine and you know, the COVID relief checks, all of that. And I'm just like, these are people sacrificing their time, sacrificing away from their families, and nobody's talking about it. So I'm begging you guys, please share this video. Or even just share the news of what's happening to our troops right now. Get this out there. Be loud about it. You know, call your own news networks. Get more people talking about this. Let them know that this is something that we as Americans will not stand for. Thank you guys so much for your time today and watching this video. Make sure to give me a big thumbs up. It's free. It only takes a second, and it really helps my channel out. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.